Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football YouTube channel. Welcome back to the Arsenal Transfer Room Live. It is a Wednesday evening. Not as busy a day today as normal. There is still plenty to talk about, but I feel like that's kind of a testament to the way this transfer window has been over the last month. That today just feels like a bit of a calmer one. We're going to be talking about Reiss Nelson and the situation with him as he looks to leave the club. Nwaneri's new contract. We're talking about Eze and Victor Gyokeres as well. And I suppose if we've got some more time today, we can have a little Q&A. But there are loads of you here, which we absolutely love to see. Izzy, Saka the Goat, Casual, Godson, Pekka, Jakob, Hyper Protagonist, VV, Vlad, Josh, Ethan Udall, Matt, Christo, Emilio, Steve, El Minister, Leeds Gunner, and many, many more. It is good to see you all liked and subscribed. This is what we love to see. If you could like the stream ASAP, that massively helps. And if you could subscribe if you've not done already, we're on the way now to 22,000 subscribers. 22. Ethan Nwaneri's new number at Arsenal Football Club as he prepares to sign a new contract. And we're going to talk about that new contract in a little bit. Will Sporting ever stop holding our man hostage? I think they will. I think we are we're getting closer and closer to a final resolution with Victor Gyokeres, but it has not happened yet. Subscribed and liked. You'll love to see it. Someone, I think Leeds Gunner said, is the allocation of gifted memberships random or as random as the algorithm gives you? It's not. It is based on, apparently anyway, it is based on how much you interact with the streams. So the more you comment and the more you like and stuff like that, the more likely you are apparently to be gifted a membership when memberships are gifted. The only channel with no gaslighting. I try not to. You sounded like an auctioneer reading out those names. Look, I used to go to a lot of auctions actually, and I quite enjoyed them. They're skillful, you know. Auctioneers, it's a skill. Are you secretly Hand of Arsenal? I am not secretly Hand of Arsenal. No. I don't think I'd have the I don't think I would have the willpower to be Hand of Arsenal because he sits on information until the right time. I think if I found something out, I'd make a TikTok straight away. I don't think I could do it. Is it true that Gordon is offered to us by Newcastle? If that is true, I would like him very much. Right, why don't we start there? Because that is a random one that doesn't really have anything to do with anything else I was going to say. Now, Indy Kyler is the source of this information. Indy Kyler today said that Newcastle United would potentially look to move Anthony Gordon to Arsenal in a way to keep Alexander Isak. Basically, they'd rather raise that money from Gordon and then be allowed to keep Isak. Now, Indy Kyler is in my experience, ridiculous source. And when I say ridiculous, I mean awful. Like, he is the OG, like, banter source on Twitter from years and years and years and years ago. That said, this summer, he has seemingly been getting a lot of Liverpool information correct. So, I don't think the Anthony Gordon stuff is true. However, I did point out before that for some reason, David Ornstein brings up Anthony Gordon and Arsenal a lot when no one else does. So, I doubt it's true, but you never know. You never know. Johannes, thank you very, very much for becoming a member of the channel. The first member today. Welcome, welcome. Enjoy the green name. And again, I need to bring those emojis into use soon for the people that are members. But those of you that followed on Twitch probably know how that normally ends up. Indy Kyler in 2025. I know. Look, he's a ridiculous source. I don't trust it, but some Liverpool fans have suddenly started deciding that he is legit. Eze would be better than Rodrigo for Arsenal. We'll talk about it. We will talk about it. Look, we'll start with the Reiss Nelson news because this is kind of the most hard set news, I guess. Sammy Mockbell this afternoon came out and said this. Arsenal have received an approach from Fulham to re-sign Reiss Nelson. The structure of the deal, which is likely to be a loan, is still to be finalised, but talks are ongoing as all parties try to find a resolution. Arsenal leave for their pre-season tour of Asia on Saturday, and with Nelson available to leave this summer, there could be a benefit in concluding the transfer before then. Now, I think everyone's immediate reaction to that is not another loan. I think it's a difficult one. The issue is this, right? Reiss Nelson's not played in 7 months. Last season, he picked up two significant hamstring injuries to both hamstrings. That said, before that, he looked good for Fulham. And the fact that Fulham are coming back in for him again would suggest that they were impressed with him. I think to get you kind of have to take a gamble, right? If you loan him, now it should be a loan with an obligation, in my opinion. It should be a loan with an obligation. If you loan him without an obligation, you run the risk of those injuries reoccurring and his value falls even further. As it stands, he has 2 years left on his contract, right? If he has another injury-ridden season, okay, we'll get rid of you from the chat, I think. There you go. If he has another injury-ridden season and then he's only got 1 year left on his contract come next summer, his value is virtually nothing. So, loan with an obligation, I think it probably works out best for both of us if that obligation is reasonable value. We'll wait and see. Loan with an obligation and a huge sell-on. Yeah, look, I'm sure you can throw in a sell-on in with it. I just think if you were able to sell him, if you wanted to sell him now, you wouldn't get what you wanted. I guarantee. If we wanted to sell him this summer, I reckon you'd probably get like 10 mil. And I reckon the club probably think you could get a lot more than that for him. You know, he'll be what? Like, how old's Reiss Nelson now? 25? Is he 25? How old is he? Yeah, he's 25. So he'll be 26 come next summer. I think you'd be at a point where, yeah, he's 25. I don't know. The thing is, you know, he's never played more than 1,000 minutes in a season, which is a problem at 25 years old. Steve has said 500 likes and I'll gift some memberships. There you go. There is the target. 500 likes. If you could like the stream and be in with a chance of being gifted a membership, that would be fantastic. Nelson being Saka's senior is crazy to me sometimes. Yeah, it is. But this is the thing. So look, we'll wait and see. Tom Canton actually also said Fulham are interested in signing Reiss Nelson. Understand Marco Silva is a big fan of the winger and is in need of signings, with the West London side being very inactive in the market so far. So we're already at 130. There we go. Yeah, man. Get it up to 200. One of the few streams I always like. Shari, I appreciate that. Nelson, 25 years old. Wow, what happened to the time? Well, this is it. You know, he went out on loan a bit, got injured a bit, played a little bit, you know. 22. The thing is, 22-23 was like his best season for us, and that was still a moment's season. So it's been difficult. What do you think about Ekitike? I'd far rather Liverpool ended up with Ekitike than Isak. Far rather they ended up with Ekitike than Isak. I think Ekitike is a good player. I think he's got some flaws to his game. I think I'm right in saying Ekitike's shot conversion rate is worse than Darwin Núñez. If you go and look at the number of shots he took last season to score the number of goals that he did, it's really poor. He's not a clinical player. So don't get me wrong, he's still young. He's had one good season. I would far rather they ended up with Ekitike. And of course, that would still mean that Isak is possibly available going into next summer again. And thank you very much for the $5. Do you think Arteta chose the away kit for this Chelsea, for his Chelsea fetish? I think it's hideous. Thank you very much, first of all, for the $5. Massively, massively appreciate that. The away kit? I don't mind it. I don't mind the away kit, to be perfectly honest with you. Don't get me wrong. I think the color scheme is it's all right. It's all right. I really like the third kit. The third kit is the banger. But thank you for the $5. And Zercha has become a member of the channel. Zercha, thank you very, very much for becoming a member of the channel. Unbelievable support. You'll love to see it. Enjoy the green name. And as always, the membership money goes straight back into the channel. So I do massively appreciate it. What do you think of the white third kit? It's absolutely beautiful. We're getting it. In honor of Jakob Olofsson, assuming, fingers crossed, that Victor Gyokeres does still sign, we are getting the third kit with Gyokeres on the back and whatever number he is. We will be there. I love it. Wilsey has been a member for 15 months. Unbelievable support from Wilsey. Thank you very much. Says big up chat. Hit the like button, please, and subscribe if you haven't. Wilsey knows. Thank you very, very much, Wilsey. And $5 from Ian, likely fraud. Thank you very much. Says the amount of people suddenly not rating Gyokeres now that he's signing for us is stunning, but not surprising. Oh, 100%. If Victor Gyokeres had been going to, I don't know, Man United, and we were signing Benjamin Sesko, everyone would be saying, oh my God, there was a striker available that had 97 goals in 102 games, but they're signing Sesko, who scored 13 goals last season. Like, that's the way it goes. So, yeah, just ignore them. Ignore them. They will be made to look fools, in my opinion. But Ian, thank you very much for that. Do you think Gyokeres will be completed in time to go on the preseason tour on Saturday? I hope so. If he isn't there for day one of the tour, it's not the end of the world. We've made a habit of doing our business on Sundays. You know, both of the last two major Victor Gyokeres updates came on a Sunday. The original Arsenal are moving for Gyokeres 2 weeks ago on the Sunday. And then this is going to happened last Sunday. So maybe it happens again next Sunday. I don't really know. When do you think Noni will be announced? To be honest, I thought Noni would be announced today. So I'm a little bit surprised he's not been, because we've still got to announce Noni, then we've got to announce Mosquera, and then in a dream world, we're going to be announcing Victor Gyokeres. So, yeah, a little bit surprised that wasn't announced today. Someone just said, check Fab. What has Fabrizio said? Is this about Arsenal, or is this something else? He's not said anything. His last post was about Jude Bellingham. Moving on from Reiss Nelson, which I just think is one of those, like, loan with obligation, get a decent bit of money for him. If there's a sell-on clause with it as well, happy days. It's best for everyone. He gets to stay in London at a club he's already familiar with. I don't mind it. Carter, good to see you. Berta takes the week off, and I can't even complain. No, Berta's still working. But look, as we're about to discuss, Berta is having a fantastic debut summer. This news came out about Ethan Nwaneri. Sammy Mockbell saying Ethan Nwaneri is set to sign what is expected to be an initial 4-year contract with Arsenal. Deal agreed, formalities to follow. He then followed that up, having originally said an initial 4-year contract. He followed it up and said, update, understand the agreement is now set to be over 5 years. Unclear if that's 4 years plus an extra or a total flat 5, but the total contract length is 5 years. So we have tied Ethan Nwaneri, one of the biggest prospects in English football, to another 5 years at the club. And what I thought was interesting was the way David Ornstein discussed this last night, right? So last night, David Ornstein said there were no demands about game time during negotiations between Arsenal and Nwaneri. So, you know, when Fabrizio and many other people were trying to paint this narrative that Nwaneri wanted guaranteed game time and that he might look to move if he didn't get guaranteed game time, nonsense. And we said here that it didn't make sense. It made no sense for Nwaneri's camp to be complaining about game time. I've actually seen other things suggesting that actually Nwaneri's camp felt like he might have been overplayed. They weren't complaining about it, but they were concerned he might have been a little bit overplayed, especially off the right wing last season. So, yeah, that was absolutely ridiculous. And Ornstein also said it is expected that he will occupy a more central role, providing competition and backup for Martin Ødegaard. The player is ready to commit to Arsenal. So, again, you know, I think that makes a lot of sense. With us bringing in Madueke, I think it's always, to me, been fairly obvious that Nwaneri was going to be a central player and not a winger, albeit he can play off the wing if absolutely needed. But yeah, I just think that's good news all around. Lots of people saying that, you know, when it came to the negotiations, he wanted to stay and that was all that was on his mind. A lot of this, his agent is a bit of a knob. And every time it's come about that we are trying to renew a contract, or even when we were trying to give him his first little pro deal, his agent was getting City and Chelsea's names involved to try and scare us. And I think Andrea Berta has just held firm, to be honest with you. Jake, thank you very, very much for the 199. He says, need to sign some referees after last season. Oh, you say that. Honestly, right? I saw a tweet come up today. It might have been from Henry Winter. I can't remember who it was. It was just the referees have been named for the Community Shield. And it was Chris Kavanagh and Paul Tierney on VAR. And I just thought, God, over the last few weeks, I've not seen these names. And I enjoyed that. I didn't know I was enjoying it, but not seeing names like Chris Kavanagh and Paul Tierney on a regular basis is good for my mental health. It's good for the blood pressure. But they are back. So it's unfortunate. It is unfortunate. Does he have the same agent as Saka? I think so. How do you get to the Emirates on the Underground? So there are two ways to get to the Emirates on the Underground, depending on where you're coming from. You can either get the Underground to Highbury and Islington, which would be the Victoria line, or I think there is an overground. Yeah, there's an overground at Highbury and Islington, or the Victoria line, or the Piccadilly line, I want to say. I normally get the Victoria line to Highbury and Islington, which is then a little bit of a walk to the stadium, or the Piccadilly line takes you to Arsenal Station, which is the closest one. So there you go. Possible hijack for Eze from Chelsea. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We will talk about that. On Nwaneri as well, Ed Aarons said Nwaneri will be part of the squad that flies to Singapore on Saturday for Arsenal's pre-season tour of Asia. So Nwaneri is now back from the break that he had after the under-21 Euros. So that is all good. Finsbury Park isn't bad either. Yeah, if you go one station further on the Piccadilly line to Finsbury Park, it's quieter. Like the walk is less busy, but yeah. Have you ever had a season ticket? No. I've been on the waiting list for like 7 or 8 years. So I did get offered a few years ago, I got offered a club level season ticket, but I couldn't afford it. So I do not have one. I'm still on the waiting list. But I did get a ticket for the first home game of the season against Leeds. So I think a lot of people don't enter the ballot for that first game because they don't realise that the ballot had already opened. But yeah, won the ballot for the opening game. Second season in a row, I've actually won the opening ballot, which is delightful. So we'll love to see it. Gyokeres deal is near complete, just add-ons being ironed out. Yeah, that's the next thing we're going to talk about. So, on Victor Gyokeres, this came from CNN Portugal. Now, interestingly, this person at CNN Portugal was the person who broke the news of the first meeting between Arsenal and Gyokeres' agent, and they had last week's exclusive of the deal being close. So they are reliable. They have said this: Victor Gyokeres is close to being finalised. Arsenal wanted 3 million euros of the add-ons to be easily achievable and 7 million euros of the add-ons to be a bit more difficult to achieve in the 10 million add-ons. Now, the latest information is that it's going to be half and half. That is 5 million that is considered very easily attainable and 5 that are slightly less easy to attain. However, as per the latest info, 5 of the 10 is basically guaranteed. So 5 of it's basically going to be guaranteed. The next 5 will probably still be fairly easy. But if he's a complete flop, perhaps we don't pay it. And yeah, that is that. Dion has just said hand of Arsenal. Dion, I hope you're not trolling me. Hand of Arsenal's not said anything in 19 hours. He's not even replied. Dion, you've trolled me. I can't believe it, Dion. How could you do me like that? So yeah, that's the latest on Victor Gyokeres. We're just waiting, but he's in the chat. Oh, it's probably not hand of Arsenal though. It's probably the guy that pretends to be him. He's in the chat. Yeah, but is it him? This is what I'm saying. Is it him? Or is it someone that's just taken his name? Because that isn't Hand of Arsenal's. That's not Hand of Arsenal's logo anymore. His profile picture is Hand of Arsenal's old logo, not his new one. Rory, sorry for cursing, but F Varandas, I'm suddenly a big Porto and Benfica fan. Yeah, listen, next season there are some teams that I am hate watching. Sporting Lisbon, Nottingham Forest, any others? They're top 2 right now. Obviously, other than the Chelseas and Cities and stuff. Where do In the Know accounts get their information compared to major journalists? A lot of the same people. One big difference is that normally an In the Know will know someone specific. A lot of In the Knows almost fall into being an In the Know because they happen to know someone at the club. Journalists do a lot more networking, but this is where, for me, Hand of Arsenal is a journalist. Like, Hand of Arsenal wasn't in the know, but he's moved into the space now of being a legitimate journalist. And he's working alongside journalists on some of his stories. So, did you see Amari Hutchinson going for 35 million somehow? I thought the Madueke deal was a huge overpay, but looking more and more like lower than the going rate in this market somehow. Yeah, look, the market is crazy. The market, especially for young English wingers, is crazy. 35 million for Amari Hutchinson is crazy. By the way, another example of how we are not utilizing the loan system well enough. Like, we lost Amari Hutchinson for nothing. He's going for 35 mil. All right, he's gone to Ipswich in between then, but yeah, it's an example of us needing to. It's an example of us needing to. Oh, it is Hand of Arsenal. It is Hand of Arsenal. Oh, I've just called him a fraud. Toby, thank you very, very much for the gifted membership. I do appreciate that. Hand of Arsenal has DM'd me to say it is him. So there we go. It is him. It is him. All bow down. All bow down. Welcome. It is Wilsey. It is the real one. It is the. I have a DM in my Twitter inbox from him saying it's him. What a legend! What a legend! You need to update your profile picture though. Does he have a bomber for us? I think if he had a bomber, it would be on his Twitter. I don't think we're getting the exclusives. But what a legend! I hope you're well. Did you see the academy signings? Yeah, I think we announced 13 academy signings today. Couple of big ones on there. Marley Salmon, who's an exciting looking player. If you watched him play against United in that cup game. Yeah, here you go, actually. We may as well do that now that you've brought it to my attention. These are the scholars that have signed new deals with Arsenal today. Jack Talbot, Marley Salmon, Patrick Stacho, Joshua Tahu, Abraham Owusu-Giassi, Josiah King, Tayshaun Marisa, Malik Hashi, Saurap Sampang, Bowen Phillips, Brando Bailey-Joseph, Marley Frohock, Callan Hamill. Callan Hamill's a big one because we spent big on him. There you go. Hand of Arsenal said, insane community, much love. It is. Shout out to the community. This community we've got here at the moment is absolutely insane. But there you go. So yeah, that's the names. And whilst we're speaking of academy players, actually, we did indeed hijack a young striker, apparently from Liverpool today. Arsenal look to have won the race for Salford striker Will Wright after hijacking Liverpool's transfer. Arsenal offered £250,000 plus major add-ons, whilst Liverpool offered £100,000 with smaller add-ons. So there you go. Charlie Wyatt, a 17-year-old striker, I believe, who impressed at Salford City. Not going to sit here and pretend that I am an avid watcher of Salford City or that I really knew who Charlie Wyatt was. But all I would say is it's a good indicator. It's the one area we've not invested anywhere near enough in is the academy for the longest of times. And you look at the way that Chelsea and Man City especially have used their academy to generate money. It's very good. 750 views on a not any big news stream is crazy. Love to all of you. It is crazy. Albert, thank you very, very much for the $4.99. Just says Rory the GOAT. Albert the GOAT. Massively appreciate that support. Thank you very, very much. Emilio says, what number would you give Gyokeres? I would give him 14. I'd give him 14. I just think it's time. I think it's time. Because you can't... The problem is... sorry, I was saying Charlie White. Charlie White's the journalist. Will Wright is the signing. That shows how much I know about the player. Charlie White was the journalist. Will Wright is the signing. Communication clarified. Will Wright is the signing. Yeah. I love the young... I love these young academy boys. No, but yeah, they are such low risk, high reward gambles. If they don't pay off, so what? Yeah, to an extent. Although, Man United let go of a lot of under 18s today that apparently they'd spent quite a lot of money on. So, a white 14. Yeah, look, we spoke about this yesterday. For me, I personally don't think that race should be factored into deciding what number is worn by a player. That is my opinion. Clipped. Wow, you just knew that was going to happen. Why haven't I got the ballot email yet? It doesn't seem like the ballot emails went out particularly well because we have 2 accounts. So my account won in the ballot, but the other account didn't get the email to say, unfortunately, this time you've not won until like 11 p.m. or midnight last night, I don't think. So there you go. Hey, Rory, sorry I'm late. What did I miss? Reiss Nelson, loan move to Fulham, hopefully with an obligation to buy. Victor Gyokeres getting closer and closer. We are very close to finalizing the agreement with the add-ons. Nwaneri, 5-year contract. Could be 4 years plus 1, but it is a 5-year deal. That's pretty much it. Saka or Gyokeres on pens? Gyokeres. For me, I hate it when a striker doesn't take penalties, if I'm honest with you. I want my striker... And by the way, this is Victor Gyokeres, based on everything that's been said about him. Again, that Mark Robbins, the old Coventry manager, did an interview about him the other day. He was like, if you finish a game and Victor Gyokeres didn't score, he is in a foul mood. When we get a penalty, I want my striker picking up the ball and telling everyone else to sod off. And then burying it. Like, as a striker, you should be scoring penalties, taking penalties. Yeah, that's where I sit. Rory, why don't Arsenal do 7 to 8 year contracts like Chelsea? Well, the thing with the 7-8 year contracts is that they are kind of high risk, high reward. They often end up on lower wages, right? Madueke's on really low wages because he was on a 7-year contract. But the risk of them is that you end up in in certain situations with Mudryk as an example. He was on an 8-year contract. So he's been at the club for 2 years. He could serve a 4-year ban and still have another 2 years left on his contract at the end. So there can be a little bit of a risk to it. So I think 5 years is fine. 5 years is fine. 850. Yeah, there's 850 of you here, which for a stream like this is incredible. If you could like and subscribe, I'd be massively grateful for it. It's free to do, and it massively helps us grow the community. Also, if you ever want to continue the football conversation, the Arsenal conversation, the Discord is linked down below. The Discord's busy these days. It's always popping, which you love to see. Off topic, what's the best seat at the Emirates, according to you, apart from club level? It really depends. It really depends what you're interested in. For me, I enjoy being at the behind the goal. Really don't mind whether it's Clock End or North Bank, but behind one of the goals, as centrally as possible, and at the bottom of the upper tier. That, for me, you get all the noise of the upper tier behind you. On a good day, anyway. Lower tier is better on a smaller game, I think. But I always prefer being behind the goal, personally. Josh, thank you very, very much for the $4.99. Says notification didn't want to work today. What's happened? Fuming. Turn your notifications on. Discord. I always put in the Discord when we're going live as well. Other than that, yeah, you're here now. And thank you very, very, very much for the $4.99 super chat. 114 as low down as possible for me is me. Yeah, fair. I don't like being too low. In lower tier, if you go too low, I just find that your depth perception is so distorted. It can just be, especially when it's at the other end of the pitch, it can just be really hard to work out what's actually going on. So I like a bit of height, especially like obviously if I'm trying to watch the game from a sense of making content and talking about it afterwards. When I've sat really low, there was one game last season. What game was it last season? Leicester, when we won late on against Leicester, I was literally row 1, basically by the corner flag. And I was like, I had no idea what was happening half the game. As low down on the upper tier is what I'm saying. Oh, right. Yeah. No, I get you. I agree with that. AFC said Gyokeres is done and traveling for a medical. Is this true? There have been a few reports saying that Gyokeres is traveling for a medical to take place on Friday. I think that is with a view to the deal will be done by then. I think that's the general feeling. But look, moving on. The latest on Eze. Is this. Simon Phillips said Chelsea held new talks on Tuesday with the agents of Crystal Palace's Eberechi Eze. Eberechi has a 65 million release clause, and Chelsea are interested. Now, it is worth saying, this is where I find the certain sections of the Arsenal fan base hyper reactionary at the moment. One singular journalist said Chelsea have held new talks with the agents of Crystal Palace's Eze. And I'm seeing people this morning, Eze's gone to Chelsea. We've missed out. It's like, hang on. We have not only held talks with his agents, but we've basically agreed personal terms with him. But everyone has to wait for Crystal Palace to be able to negotiate. So, firstly, relax. There's a guy called Alex Goldberg who is like a Chelsea in the know type thing. I'm not sure how reliable he is, to be completely honest with you. He said Arsenal are still favourites for Eze though, and he's a Chelsea fan that does Chelsea content. Said Arsenal are still favourites for Eze. Now, the Eze thing I think is worth talking about, because I saw today when Nwaneri signed his new contract, or hasn't signed it yet, but it was agreed. And David Ornstein said that Nwaneri is being seen as a central player and as a backup and a competitor for Martin Ødegaard. I saw people saying, well, why are we we don't need Eze then. We shouldn't be going for Eze then. I still think we should be. I still think we should be going for a left winger as well, but I still think we should be going for Eze, because I still don't think, as high as his ceiling is, and as much as I rate Nwaneri, I still don't think we're in a position where we can rely on only having Ødegaard and Nwaneri as the central attacking options. Because one big injury to Ødegaard again, like we saw last season, I don't think Nwaneri is ready to play twice a week consistently in midfield. I just don't. From a physical perspective. And also, I just don't think that's good for him right now. So I still think you need to go out and get Eze. And then possibly a left winger as well. Albert, thank you very, very much for the $4.99. Now that we've made some signings and have an idea of who else we may get, what is your predictions for our first few games this season? Look, our first few games this season are difficult. Let me bring up our first few games, because they are difficult, undoubtedly. I would say Man United we should beat. They have done no business other than Mateus Cunha so far this summer. Any business they do now won't have had as much time to settle in. We should be beating them. Leeds, I think we beat. Liverpool away, I think we draw. Our record against Liverpool has been very good. Forest at home, I think we win. I think Forest adapting to not having Elanga, Gibbs, White. I think we should beat them at home. City at home, that's an interesting one. At this point, I'd say draw, and I'd be all right with that. And then Newcastle away, I'd probably say draw as well. So you'd come out of that first 6 Premier League games. If that happened, you'd come out of that first 6 Premier League games with 12 points. 3 wins, 3 draws, 12 points, which I don't think is too bad to say that at that point you've played Liverpool away, Newcastle away, and City. But yeah, we'll see. I think we're in a good place going into next season. I do. If we get 15 out of 18, I'd be more than happy. 15 out of 18 would be incredible. Big up, Rory. Quick question. If you could give 3 bits of advice to someone that wants to start a YouTube channel based on Arsenal. Consistency is all like, it's cliche, but consistency is king. Like, we've been streaming consistently again since what? April-ish. And the growth has been incredible. It's very, very, very difficult to grow on YouTube and nowhere else. Like, realistically, I'm obviously helped by the fact that on Twitter and TikTok, I've got a decent profile. But other than that, just be yourself. I think that's the biggest thing. Be yourself. Don't try and get views. Don't try and get clips. And don't be disheartened when things don't go quickly as well. First 6 games is insane, by the way. Yeah, it is. It is. We're winning 5 from 6. I think there are 3 that you have to win. I think United, Leeds, Forest, you have to win. Who's more reliable, Rory or Marker? It's a tough one. Me. I'm more reliable than Marker. Marker were trying to tell us Zubimendi was off to Real Madrid. You'd never catch me doing that. Never. But yeah, so on the Eze thing, back to the Eze thing. For me, you get Eze. Do you know one thing I saw today, right? Ademola Lookman is going to... Well, he's not going to. Ademola Lookman has agreed terms with Inter Milan. And Inter Milan are ready to offer 40 million euros for him. Now, Atalanta may not accept 40 million euros, but that, for me, would be a very good value signing. If I saw Ademola Lookman move this summer for 40 million euros and we don't end up with a left winger, I'll be questioning it. Because it's not Rodrigo level, right? But it's a massive upgrade, in my opinion, on Trossard. So if we move Trossard on, I think if you bring in Eze and Lookman, I would be happy with that. Because I do still think if you lose Trossard and you only bring in Eze, I still then think you're a bit light on the left wing again. Even though you've got Martinelli, Eze, Madueke, I don't know. Would Lookman even be good for us? I think so. Lookman's output is better than any other left winger that we've been linked to. Better than Kvaratskhelia, better than Leao, better than Rodrigo, better than Martinelli, better than Trossard. Lookman's output is very, very good. What did he get last year? Let me bring it up. Lookman last season got, if I scroll down, 20 goals and 6 assists in 40 games last season. It's Nwaneri, not Nwaneri. Why? I don't know what you mean. It's Nwaneri. I think Leao is the best value for money. Apparently, they only want 70 million euros. Yeah, but I don't think that's good value for money. I think Lookman for 30 million euros less than Leao is way better value. If you look at them playing in the same league, Lookman, 26 contributions in 40 games, and Leao got, let me bring it up. Leao got 23 in 51. So Lookman got 3 more contributions in 11 fewer games. And their age isn't even that different. Lookman's 27. and Leao is 26. So I think it's closer to a 2-year gap because Leao only just turned 26. But I would take them. And Lookman can create something out of nothing. Lookman, you can't leave by himself. Xavi Simons is a viable option. Xavi Simons is a viable option if we don't get Eze, I would say. Source close to Arsenal have explained to SER that a deal for Rodrigo and the London club is very complicated. We don't say it's impossible, but the Arsenal road appears to be closed. Damn. Lasser have been good. That's been a reliable outlet this summer as well. They were pretty much bang on about the Zubamendi stuff and the Mosquera stuff. So that is a shame. I just don't see how Liverpool end up doing Rodrigo and either Ekitike or Isak. But if they do, it's an absolutely incredible summer for them. Thanks for all the trophy challenges. Sad to see them go. Yeah, I'm sad to see them go, to be honest. Lookman agreed terms with Atletico Madrid. I thought he agreed terms with Inter. Huh? When did he agree terms with Atletico? The only thing I saw today was from Di Marzio saying that he agreed terms with Inter. I mean, he clearly wants to leave. He clearly wants to leave Atalanta if he's agreeing terms with both Inter and Atletico. He's clearly not even that arsed where he ends up. Hey, Rory, I'm a new Red member and a little confused about the point system and entering the ballot. There is no point system for entering the ballot. So the point system is to do with away tickets. So if you go to an away game, you get 1 away point. And when away tickets go on sale, they start at the people with the most points, and then they get offered, if there are still some left, they got offered to less and less points. I think last season there were 5 games that made it down to 0 points. So it is difficult. But yeah, the ballot, entering the ballot, it's normally from Friday at 10 a.m. until Monday at 10 a.m. for games that are about 6 weeks in advance. David Ornstein, Liverpool. Well, we're doing some journalism. What's David Ornstein said? Nothing. Why do people keep saying journalists' names when they've not said anything? The last that David Ornstein said was Liverpool have contacted Eintracht Frankfurt over a possible move for Hugo Ekitike, and have also approached Newcastle for Alexander Isak. Hey, Rory, first time catching alive. Do you think there will be games that we will play Gyokeres and Havertz in a 4-4-2? I think it's possible. I do think it's possible. It'll be interesting to see, because I don't know how you do it. Because the only thing is, if you did Gyokeres and Havertz in a 4-4-2, who are the 2 central midfielders if you're doing that? One of them's got to be Declan Rice. Is the other one Ødegaard? Because in another way, that almost is like having a midfield of Rice, Havertz, Ødegaard. Or is it Zubamendi? Do you bench Ødegaard to do that? In games away at Newcastle, for example, I actually disagree with it as a tactic because I don't think it's worked. But Arteta often likes to go toe-to-toe with them as physically as possible. So do you go Zubamendi, Rice, Havertz, Gyokeres? Maybe. Possibly. I don't think so, but... Hey, Rory, what's your advice for people living abroad who don't get memberships for tickets? To be completely honest with you, I don't know. I've never looked into getting a ticket as someone who lives abroad. I know that in different countries, there are different supporters groups that are given tickets from the club that they can distribute to their groups, but I don't know really how that works. Who are the realistic left-wing options if it's not Rodrigo? Well, I think Lookman. Lookman's one of the biggest. Anthony Gordon is one, just based on David Ornstein keeping on mentioning his name. I don't think Leao is a realistic one. Outside of that, I'm not sure there are many, to be honest. When is the Q&A? Well, it's kind of now. I'm just answering questions now, to be honest. We're done with the news for the day, so we could do 5 or 10 minutes of just answering questions. Is there still a genuine chance to land Rodrigo? I think it's very slim. I think it's very slim, to be honest with you. Much as I wish we would. What's your favorite cake? Oh, you wanted to know when the Q&A was to ask what my favorite cake was. I love a cheesecake. I absolutely love a cheesecake, to be honest with you. Depending on the season as well, you know, summer weather, you're talking like a lemon cheesecake, right? Or a raspberry. In the winter, there used to be a pub I used to go to, right, as a kid, and they had a Mars bar cheesecake. Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable. No way. That was my first thought too. Everyone just wants to know about the cake. Yeah, that Mars bar cheesecake. I do also love I love those, you know, the ones that you can get the like what are they called? Basically like chocolate cake, but where it's got like molten chocolate in the middle of it. Them with double cream on. I do enjoy that. I like a red velvet cake. I do like a red velvet. I do like a carrot cake, to be honest with you. Pub as a kid, most British thing ever. Man, I spent every Sunday of my childhood pretty much in the pub from midday until about 10 p.m. That was my childhood. Lemon drizzle. Don't mind a bit of lemon drizzle. Basque cheesecake. What is Basque cheesecake? Have I had it before? I think I have had it before. Is it the one that's like super vanilla-y? Yeah, burnt Basque cheesecake. I feel like sometimes I find that a little bit not sweet enough. Sometimes I find that not sweet enough. Albert, thank you very, very much for the $4.99. If you were a cake, what kind of cake would you be? What kind of cake would I be? That's such a phenomenal question. I would say now this is one for a brulee. No, creme brulee, mate. Just a wobbly mess. No, I would say if I was a cake, maybe like the sort. If you went to school in Britain, you'll remember the sort of cake that you got at school. If you had a school dinner, the cake that you'd get, there would just like a plain sponge with white icing and hundreds of thousands on top. But I'd say one of those is just gone a little bit stale on the outside. So a bit of a hardened exterior. But once you get into it, delightful. Take. Well, what cake would you describe me as? Jiggly cake? Battenberg? Chocolate tart? Wow. Loan for Dowman or too early? Too early, and also he's the sort of talent that you don't loan, to be honest with you. PR in bench press? Never done one. Never done one. Fairy cake with sprinkles? That's what I'm saying. Why is Rodrigo unlikely to happen? I think Rodrigo's unlikely to happen just for the financial side of it, to be honest with you. If we're looking at doing Eze as well, I just think it's going to be very difficult for us to do. I'd love to be proven wrong. ZRAFC just retweeted a report saying we probably won't go for Rodrigo now. Yeah, I think it's from Lasser. You'd be a very dependable Victoria sponge. You'll have to see it. No more loans. Yeah, well, I don't. Downman's like Nwaneri. I think you do him more damage than good in loaning him out, to be honest. Like Foden at Man City. If Reiss is a sellable player, why would we consider loaning him to Fulham again? Because he's not that sellable right now. He's not played for 7 months. 2 big hamstring injuries last season. If you're going to sell him for what he's actually worth, a team will need to see that he can do a full season. Like, he's not even done 1,000 minutes in a season before. Favorite sausage, I'll tell you now, because I have a strong opinion on this one. Tesco, in the summer, do a sausage that is red Leicester and jalapeno. That is the banker. It is phenomenal. 4 of them to a pack. 4 big sausages, red Leicester and jalapeno. Oh, come on. Who do you think's the next signing? Victor Gyokeres, I believe. Victor Gyokeres. Someone's put Fabrizio Post, but I'm pretty sure this guy's a troll. So we'll see if I'm right. I reckon I've clocked this guy as a troll. Oh, no. I mean, there is a post. It's about Ademola Lookman. Ademola Lookman still plans to leave Atalanta, and Inter are preparing an official bid after positive talks with his camp. The opening bid can reach 40 million euros, but Atalanta want more. Atletico also insist for Lookman if they can sell one more attacking player. So there you go. How do you become a member? There should be a thing below. If you go down below to where the subscribe button is, next to it, it says join the channel or something like that. Join the channel, something like that. That is how you do it. Never have to become a member, though. Never feel like you have to become a member at all. I appreciate people that just watch, like, and subscribe. How many goals a season do you think you score playing up front for Arsenal? Genuinely, 2. Genuinely 2. I don't think people realise just how difficult it is, like, at that level. Like, against any Premier League level centre-back, I wouldn't get a sniff. My movement wouldn't be good enough. It would be insanely slow. I would maybe get a couple of lucky tap-ins just from being there at a push. They're not putting me on penalties, right? So I would say 2. Nah, because I wouldn't get put on penalties. It's also in the video description. Yeah, in the description, there's a link to it as well. There you go. Thank you, Carter. I wouldn't be on penalty. You think they give it? You think Bukayo Saka's stepping up with the ball and handing it over to me for a penalty? No. So I'd get 2. I reckon I'd get 2 in a full season. Yeah, exactly. If they gave me, they may give me a Kai Havertz penalty. Yeah, if the entire fan base is hating me after 3 months, maybe they give me a Kai penalty. Saw a nice little finish from Kai Havertz in training today, by the way. Captured on the Google Pixel. Listen, Wamverts 25-26, 20-goal season. Trust me. Trust me. Just pull a Chelsea and argue and fight to take the penalty. Can you imagine? Saka would absolutely body me, though, if I tried to do that. How many goals and or assists do you think Havertz gets next season? Genuinely, not even gaslighting, 15 goals, 10 assists. I think he's going to have a banging season. 15 goals, 10 assists. No worries, Casual. I appreciate you being here. Would you rather sign Leao over Eze? No. I would much, much rather Eze over Leao. Much rather. Favorite Marvel movie? I think it has to be Endgame. I actually really enjoyed that one that came out recently. The most recent one. But, yeah. My favorite overall Marvel thing is still probably Punisher, though. Like the Punisher TV series. Albert, thank you very, very much for becoming a member. Albert, your support on the stream today has actually been incredible. So thank you very, very much for doing that. And Nangunagasa, I think is how you pronounce that. No, Nagunagasa. Yeah, Nagunagasa, thank you very, very much for becoming a member. I appreciate it massively. Enjoy the green name. Thank you for the support. And Nathan Langston with the $4.99 as well. Can we get a TIFO with AC/DC Hell's Bells intro and fireworks next season? Also, Bukayo Superstar to Jesus Christ Superstar tune. Look, I mean, when it comes to the TIFOs, AC/DC Hell's Bells, I'll take over that canon again. Bukayo Superstar to Jesus Christ Superstar. I am not entirely sure I'm on board with that one, but I will take the Tifo. Top 3 underrated Arsenal players from the Emirates era. Top 3 underrated. I think like easy ones to go for in the past have been obviously like Gabriel or like Cazorla, but I actually do think Cazorla gets the love he deserves these days. I would say Thomas Rositzky, definitely one of them for me. I would say, would you say Nacho Monreal? Or does Nacho Monreal get the respect he deserves? He was a very, very sturdy left back and reliable. And then Ozil wasn't underrated. I'd say at times I wouldn't actually. I wouldn't. I guess to an extent Granit Xhaka, but again, I feel like a lot of these players eventually got the love that they deserved. Podolski, nah, maybe Podolski. Song was quality, but nah, Sanchez wasn't underrated. I think a lot of people still think that Sanchez was one of our best players in the Emirates era. Giroud is either, by a lot of people, Giroud is either underrated or massively overrated. I feel like at times he gets massively overrated, and people don't acknowledge that there were times for us where, like, if we had a genuinely elite striker, we'd have won the league. But equally, some people thought he was a donkey. Albert, thank you very, very much for another $4.99. Unbelievable respect, man. I coach in the States for a USL club, and you make the travel much better and keep me in the loop. So thank you. You love to see it. You love to see it. Full support for Albert's USL club. What does USL stand for? What does USL stand for? Chat. Is that like University Soccer League? University Soccer League? I don't know. I think you're the most humble person on YouTube among channels, and I watch much love from India. Oh, Akash, thank you very much. Thoughts on Gabriel Heinze? To be honest, I know nothing about him. I mean, I don't even remember that much of him as a player, and I really don't know much about him as a coach. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I really do know much about him. United Soccer League? Maybe. What I would say is that I've seen a lot of Gabriel Heinze in the training pictures, and he seems very like full on. Seems very just like he's getting stuck in. So that's good. That's good. And maybe we do need someone that's going to kind of almost get in the face of the players a little bit and stuff like that. Did someone say what the USL stands for? Aidan Burns has said Phoenix Rising is my hometown team in the USL. Did Aidan Burns explain what the USL is? It's the second division to the MLS. Oh, crazy. Oh, crazy. That's like the championship. He seems to be shouting in every pick. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's the league below the MLS. Oh, we've got a USL coach in the chat. That's crazy. Gilberto. Yeah, Gilberto's a shout, actually. It's probably like the lowest regarded from that era. I think, to be fair, I think Matthew Flamini as well. A little bit. Rory Reiss is the only player, in my opinion, that's lived up to the 100 mil price tag from memory. That alone goes under the radar. Any other names I might have missed? No, it's the big thing with the if you look at the list of the most expensive transfers, whether you look globally or even just within the Premier League, expensive transfers, especially the ones that clear the 100 mil mark, like there haven't been many good ones. There have been far more misses than hits. It's why it's such a risk. Now, I think Caicedo, to be fair, will play to the level over the next few years that he'll have been worth it. I still don't think Enzo Fernandez is. Who else has there even been? I mean, this is the thing. This is why there's going to be pressure on Florian Wirtz. Jack Grealish, nowhere near lived up to it. I know City fans will say that, well, he won the treble, but, you know, there is no way you can argue that he's been worth 100 mil. Hector Bellerin. Hector Bellerin pre-ACL. Hector Bellerin pre-ACL, I would give you. For sure. Anyway, look, this is going to be the end of the stream. We will have a quiz question shortly, but for those people that don't want to stay for it, thank you very, very much for joining. It's not been as hectic as our streams recently, not a crazy amount of news today, but the fact that we were sat for most of that stream at over 800 viewers, like, is just insane for how far this channel has come. And I'm so grateful for it. If you could like and subscribe before you jump off, and enjoy your Wednesday evenings. We will be back tomorrow with another stream, undoubtedly. And for those of you that are sticking around, we will tuck in to a quiz question. Let's go with... Like, there are some mental quiz questions in here. Like, there are some... Like one of the categories is first division winners in 1952 to 1953. Fair play to the people that do have knowledge of the 52-53 season, but I want the questions to be, like, relatively achievable for everyone. Here we go. How many Premier League and First Division titles did Tony Adams win? How many Premier League and First Division titles did Tony Adams win? Once someone has got it, I will give you the multiple choice. The multiple choice was 3, 4, or 5. So if you put down a number that wasn't 3, 4, or 5, you have definitely lost. But the correct answer was, and the first person to get it, and he's done it again, it's Reiss Nelson. It was 4. He won 2 Premier Leagues and 2 First Division titles. And Reiss Nelson has got it right first. Unbelievable. Ethan Udall was second. Carl was third. Oliver was fourth. And... Two was fifth. So there you go. Reiss Nelson's just on a generational run again. He is back. He is back at the top. Steve gifted 10 memberships within that. Unbelievable, Steve. Thank you very, very much. Just ridiculous generosity, honestly. Absolutely obscene. If you have just been gifted a membership by Steve, please do make sure to thank him in the chat. He said close enough to 500. I don't know what we ended up on. But that goes to show we didn't even hit 500, but Steve is there. Steve, thank you so much. It's incredible to have this much support on the channel, and it really does make it a lot easier to keep doing it consistently. All right, enough of that. If you were interested in men, who would you want to date the most in the Arsenal team? I really should have read that before reading the full thing out. I'm just not going to answer the question. I don't need people with bad agendas to clip that up. So we're just gonna leave it. I am not going, and I'll tell you why. I will not objectify the men of the Arsenal football team in the same way that I would not objectify the women. It is 2025. So we will not be doing that. Arrives, wins the quiz, leaves. Ross is just flexing. He's flexing. Anyway, the dog has arrived, absolutely fuming that it's gone 6 o'clock and she's still not been fed. So we are going to end the stream there. Like I said, massive appreciation for everyone that has joined. Like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. If you want to continue the conversation, the Discord is linked down below. But other than that, have a fantastic Wednesday evenings. I will be back with another stream tomorrow. But until then, goodbye.